So, guys, before we get started with today's episode, let me give you guys a brief overview of what Pathwing is all about before we jump into the show. Pathwing is the intelligent tool for website lead generation. With increasing online competition, more than 98% of all website visitors do not convert. So your ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in their buying journey separates you from the competition. So Pathwing qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where people are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences, like case studies, intro videos, and much more. So stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by plus 50%. Add Pathwing to your page in seconds. Let the AI do all the work and get access to 50% more leads while you keep doing the same. As always, with the same website traffic, but 50% more conversions. Check it out on pathwing.com. In today's episode of the Pathwing Presents podcasts, I got two interesting guests here with me today. I'm with Clark and Mike Burica, who are heading over from the folks over at Workforge. And at Workforge, they're basically strengthening manufacturing through engaging workforce development solutions. I mean, that's what I'm taking from the website. But we want to really deep dive into what this is all about. How they basically use their solutions, visual work instruction, leadership development, and the likes, in order to strengthen manufacturing. So let's deep dive into today. Hey, Chris. Hey, Mike. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here. Thanks.
Very good. Whoever wants to take the lead on that, maybe tell our customers and listeners and friends for the Pathwing Presents podcast a little bit more about Workforge. What is it all about in your own words?
Sure. I can kick us off and then Chris can probably add to it. So at the core, we're an education technology company focused on delivering learning and development content into manufacturers, global manufacturers for that matter. One of the things that we all experienced over the last 3 years or so was the global pandemic. And a byproduct of that global pandemic here in the United States has been the reshoring a lot of those valuable manufacturing processes. One of the challenges that we're experiencing is a retention of those laborers with those current employers and the ability to acquire new workers into these jobs as more and more manufacturers come back to the States. So our solution is targeted at manufacturers, everything from protein processing up to aerospace, in helping them to attract and retain those workers that are so vital to production of product and the supply chain.
Makes a whole lot of sense. Chris, anything to add from your side?
Yeah. Mike really hit the nail on the head there. With the reshoring of a lot of industry, semiconductor and a lot on the American side, and because of the 2020 or the COVID-19 pandemic, we really realized that in manufacturing, it really showed a sore spot that manufacturers for a long time were really focusing on efficiencies, output, product, filling orders, getting orders out on time. A lot of them, and it's not a bad thing or a wrong thing, it's just been a way of practice, weren't really inward focusing and looking at their training, developing their employees, empowering their employees, showing career pathways. This is not just a job. When you're here, you can start here and build up, and you can have to spend a career here. And it's a very viable, it could be a very lucrative career for you. That's where we come in, where these companies may not have the tools or the insights or the resources internally to be able to do it on their own. And we can come in and say, we know what you need, we've got what you need. Let's talk about where your pain points are. Where can we fill gaps? Where can we help? Our KPIs are going to be based on what your retention is, what your test scores are your safety metrics improving, are your retention metrics improving, things like that, to show that really the improvements and the steps that you make with us are going to improve your overall efficiency. So a lot of those soft costs that many folks don't look at. So at the heart of what we do, it is about developing the employee, developing the person, and helping the company stay sustainable.
Very cool. That makes a lot of sense. Now, what would you say, Chris, as you maybe continue on that, who would be sort of, a standard client? How would you characterize an organization that benefits the most from Workforge?
That's a very good question. I actually come from the protein industry, and I came from a fairly large protein processor in the United States. And food and beverage has been kind of a sweet spot for us, only because food and beverage, especially the protein industry, has been pretty behind when it comes to employee development and training solutions. It is a very cutthroat industry, and your margins and yields change day by day. It's all about product. So I was able to kind of come in with the knowledge from my past in the protein industry and say food and bev was really hurting. Really a lot of strongly regulated industries as well. If you look at aerospace, defense, CNC, automotive, EV, aviation, things like that are strongly regulated. Those regulations change quite frequently. And it's difficult for companies that don't have internal resources to train employees on these ever-changing regulations, whereas our strong suit is we partner with many subject matter experts all around the globe who this is what their job is to know. They help us better understand, and then we can then in turn react and update content and push out to our clients in a very timely manner. So if they've got audits coming up, or say they did less than desirable on an audit, we can get it taken care of in a timely manner, whereas many of these companies just don't have the internal resources to be able to do that.
Yes.
Mike, what would you think?
Yeah, I think I very much agree with the comment. And the interesting thing is probably a couple of things floating through my mind. One is that there's really no determination on the size of an organization. You can have a 10-person machine shop producing metal fabrication and things of that nature. And the challenge there is that in so many instances, it's quote unquote tribal knowledge is the way in which that information is passed through the organization. We can help with that, standardize it. And it's really interesting as I've come into this space, large multinational billion-dollar organizations have the exact same challenge. And one of the things that we do is we approach it from a very academic viewpoint. So even these large organizations might have a learning and development staff, but we think about it from education, so instructional design, in the way that we build the curriculum, in the way that we test for retention and knowledge and competency in that. So those are just some of the things that are important to us, and it really doesn't matter, whether you're a large or a small organization, those things translate through.
Very good. Now, what would you say how would you describe sort of that champion within that organization that's holding the flag high for Workforge? Like, what role do they typically hold? Like, maybe tell us a little bit about them.
Yeah, it depends. I'd love to give you the answer because that would make selling so much easier if we knew that. It depends on the organization, kind of the culture of the organization, sometimes the size of the organization. It's, as Chris was talking about, highly regulated industries. You have QA teams, you have the finance teams that are going to be core in who we're positioning up against. So, director level and above, CFOs in those instances. You're also going to be looking at the human resources team and the learning development teams as they happen to be large enough or focused on that type of function within the organization. So those tend to be the areas where we're most focused, and those initial calls or those messages are going up to.
Very good. If it's a smaller organization, which we have a few clients that are a bit in the smaller organizations, sometimes it's the president, owner, CEO, founder.
Yeah.
That's where the size really plays in. They may not have a learning and development department. They may not have a human resources person. So that the size is quite indicative. But as Mike had just iterated, those are kind of the sweet spots for us that we tend to go.
That makes sense. Now, what would you say? How do these guys learn about you? Like, how would you describe their journey? Which channels are they working through in order to get to know about Workforge?
That's a great question. So Workforge is a product of a merger or a combination of two previous organizations that happened earlier this year. We just rebranded in March this year. Both of those organizations have a storied history. We're very well trusted and respected within the industry. So being able to transfer, hey, we were this, now we're this, has been helpful. And word of mouth is always very helpful within industries. We really push our what our offerings are, what our solutions are, what our impact has been through general outbound outreach. Social media through LinkedIn has been beneficial to us as well. And maybe one of our largest ways to promote and really champion Workforge has been at our trade shows and conferences, and really being face to face with these personas that Mike had mentioned, and really letting them know this is what we do, this is how we help. We're such a configurable solution that it's not really one size fits all, and it's not an in the box, plug it in, here it goes. We look at what the problems are and how our solutions can help connect dots and solve problems. So those face-to-face interactions and those personal interactions really seem to be the most meaningful in what we do. But for our initial outbound, we are really focusing on outbound email campaigns and drips through a couple of different channels, social media, obviously, digital, website, PPC.
What role would the website play?
Right now, the website is our single source of truth when it comes to funneling any interest or folks. So anything that we do through our email, through social, through video, through PPC, whatever it's going to be, everything we want to funnel into our website, because we feel like the information on the website is the most robust and can explain and describe our products and how we do things the best. Now, I will preface this with that we are going through a version 2 website update, so it should be even better once that is done. But we really try to drive traffic as much as we can to the website, just because we feel that that's where you're going to learn the most and the most accurate information about.
Very cool. Let's switch gears a little bit, right? We talked about growth a little bit. We talked about the websites. Be curious, Mike, maybe share with us a little bit about sort of your role. Like, how should we think about it? Sort of how do you two work together? Maybe that would be very insightful because, we got a lot of marketers listening in. They're building up, marketing teams as well. So maybe tell us a little bit about how you two sort of, work together and share responsibilities.
Sure. So my responsibilities are all things commercial for Workforge. So that's going to be, working with Chris from a marketing perspective. That's going to be the acquisition of new business, so our new business team, and then the retention of existing clients. So we kind of have an as a service model in our organization. So, obviously the retention is a critical component as we continue to build on the revenues created by that new business team and the leads that Chris and his folks have created. The way in which we're working together is like Chris was starting to allude to, new business is, lives and dies by leads. So what the website is able to generate, the way in which Chris can assist us from, cold call and prospecting activities that our account executives calling on specific vertical markets are assigned to, trade shows and the like, which are a wonderful lead resource for us. And then, using different types of tools. I mean, even the things like, you're talking about here with Path, and testing out new options for us to reach our clients in ways that, reach our prospects in ways that are interesting and engaging to them, and probably not just, standard emails, and trying to be creative in those ways. So that's what I do. That's what I think about, and, a little bit of how Chris and I, in our worlds intersect.
Very cool. Very good. Chris, anything to add from your side?
No, Mike nailed it. It's I couldn't have said it better.
Very good. Then I would like to jump into our rapid fire questions, right? They're famously used in the Path and Presents podcast. I'm going to throw them at you. So since we got, the both of you here, maybe feel free to both of you throw in a quick answer from each of you. Would be usually like, one sentence, one word answer, so we can, fire away. So you're ready for those?
Sounds fun.
Very good. So start with Chris. What's the last book you read?
At Fidelity by Nick Hornby.
Very cool. Mike, what's the last podcast you listened to? Or the book, if there is no podcast that you recently listened to?
No, I'll do the podcast. I just listened to the most recent Pitchfork.
Pitchfork. Very good. Now, Chris, what's the one single thing that Workforge is focusing on the most at the moment?
New business.
Very, very good. Now, if I give you a magic wand and you can basically, change one thing that you would do for your growth function, what's the one single thing that you would change?
We would be a better prospecting organization.
Prospecting. Very good. Now, getting back to Chris, if you could snap with your fingers and get one repetitive task that you do in your marketing daily work out of your plate or from your plate, what task would you happily give away?
Challenge, just one.
Just one. Oh, Copy editing.
Okay, very cool. And the last question goes to the both of you. If today would be your very first day joining Workforge, what would be the one advice you would give yourself for the journey? Feel free, whoever wants to get started.
I'll go first. I've been around a little bit longer than Mike has. Workforge is growing. It is young. It's aggressive. It's progressive. And stay nimble, stay humble, but you're going to have a hell of a lot.
Anything to add, Mike?
You can't solve all of the opportunities and challenges in the first month.
Very, very true. Guys, I really appreciate you joined us here at the Pathway Presents podcast today. I want to give you the very last word, whoever wants to pick it up. If people would only remember one thing, if they would forget anything else that we discussed about Workforge, what's the one thing that they should remember?
We drive outcomes for our manufacturers.
Thanks a lot for being a guest on Pathway Presents.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks a lot.